David, what do you think about one mister who we all know? Putin, for all the Ukrainians, of course, is a reflection of pure evil, because so many families lost loved ones due to this absolutely unjustified, terrible, full-scale invasion. But do you think he runs just for practical interests, wanting to expand territory of Russia, or there is also a spiritual background in this difficult situation when war crimes are committed in absolutely peaceful cities, regions, when thousands of civilians are killed and executed, and it doesn't have any military purpose. It doesn't give any advance to the enemy, but they just do it to intimidate our people. How would you describe this very unusual situation, even for the war? Every war is terrible, but there are traditions of the war. He doesn't follow them. He is trying to kill as many civilians as possible.
Well, this goes back a long way because, yes, I'm in an unusual position having actually been in the Soviet Union for more than 60 years and fully aware of the situation. I mean, I was there, I worked 30 years under communism and 30 years since the freedom came. But there are two things which are very interesting. One is that when I was in the height of my Bible smuggling, my biggest opposition came from the World Council of Churches in Geneva, because they were always declaring that there was no religious persecution anywhere in the Soviet Union, and that I was stupid, I shouldn't do it, I was wasting my time. And I actually had confrontations with the World Council of Churches. And in England, even church leaders opposed me. They said, look, the World Council of Churches, they work in the Soviet Union, they know the freedom is there. They never went there, they never saw. And the reason that I started working in the Soviet Union, because in 1961, on my journey to Israel, I had to physically travel behind the Iron Curtain. And I saw for myself the true situation. That was even before I started the Bible smuggling. All of that followed. But the other thing is this. I now realize that two key people in Geneva, in that World Council of Churches, was a certain Vladimir Putin and the head of the Orthodox Church, Kirill. He was not head of the Orthodox Church. He was at that time just simply a small representative on the World Council of Churches. And the friendship between those two began right back in those days. Then Putin, he was just KGB. Kirill was just a small priest. But what it does show is the fact that Putin allied himself with a demonic spirit. Now, I'm going to say this, it's a little bit difficult to say it, but in Russia, the Orthodox Church always tried to suppress evangelicals. This is a fact. And in fact, it's a couple of hundred years ago when an English lord felt called to go to Russia, this was before the Soviet Union, before communism, in order to bring the truth of the evangelical gospel. And right back to those days, there was a spiritual battle. And unfortunately, what Putin is doing is using the Orthodox Church to justify his attack on the decadent West. And he's totally ignoring all the revivals, all the evangelical churches that were opened, although they did admit that to me on one occasion. But unfortunately, I mean, even seeing Putin's recent broadcast on television, where his picture on the big screen, on either side of him are pictures of Jesus Christ. Now, to use that as a justification to attack a Christian West, I mean, to me, it's a form of blasphemy for an evil man. And you see, it's even deeper than that, because right back in those earliest years when I was in the Soviet Union under communism, I encountered the demonic spirit that was there. This is before Putin, long before Putin, that I encountered the strong demonic spirit. And I recognized that it came through Genghis Khan and the Mongols. And that spirit, which is of course anti-Christian, that is the spirit that's in Putin today. It was in Lenin, it's in Putin, so it is a demonic spirit that, if it gets loose, will not only destroy European nations, and I've not said this before, but this needs to be heard, because that demonic spirit will attack Christianity in the West. Now, those are the dangers, and that's where I see that this is something, it is a spiritual battle. It's not just a physical battle of two armies. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. And that's one reason why I fight with you. It's one reason why I'm proud to be incorporated into your military as a chaplain and to identify with you, because I see this now as a spiritual battleground for me. Not just the physical, the spiritual battleground. We have to defeat this demonic spirit.